think the environment has to be changed.
What we're saying is have a heart.
We've got to be able to regenerate our
There'll be
economy.
people who are kind, people who are cruel, but that's life. You can be bigoted about things. I'm fine with that.
Increasingly, the internet may be a source of support for some depression sufferers. Take a look at some of the websites that we have come across. We know there are good things about the internet, but to address this problem, if they're exposed to help groups which will teach them how to take their lives, how serious is this? As a psychologist, as a psychiatrist, how serious do we take this? Can we take this?
I would say that it is very serious, but for the young person who's reached that point of wanting to take their life, there's probably some signs already that they're in that state of mind. So for the majority of young people who aren't depressed and aren't suicidal, if they stumble across a website that's some kind of suicide club or pact, it's not going to make them suicide. An internet site on its own cannot do that. But for an adolescent or a young person who's already suffering with depression and feeling really hopeless, then they're going to be more enticed by a website like that.
I think if you look at the Samaritans of Singapore website, they give an annual report about the state of suicide in Singapore. I believe that anything from 50 to 100 suicides in Singapore every year are committed by people under 30. And so this is really quite a waste of life. I mean, at any age, suicide is a waste of life, but it's just that it's not a low number. The number of suicide deaths under 30 in Singapore. I think more can be done to actually try to prevent this suicides in a young age group.
Okay, and it's the parents who have to be on the lookout for this, the signs.
Well, as we were saying before, it's the responsibility is primarily the parents, but everybody else's as well. So they say it takes a village to raise a child, and it's really the same with something like depression, where really we all need to be looking out for each other.
So we have cases of the minority of children who gravitate to those sites. What sort of danger signs can you detect? What can be done about those children?
I think that one useful way for parents to actually maybe have an insight into their child's life is actually through the things they write. And one of the opportunities is actually to take a look at your child's blogging patterns. Sometimes,
how can you do that? They won't allow you.
Well, sometimes people blog quite openly, not necessarily on Facebook. If Facebook, then you're not a friend of your child.
So parents have to be internet savvy.
I think that it is an opportunity to actually have another insight into your child's life.
You know, nowadays when they play game, they can chat at the same time.
Yes, and you can always go back
coming
to the
back
history.
again, I would like to know what are the danger signs when you find a child is prone to visiting such sites, prone to suicidal thoughts. What are the indications that you get?
One of the things you have to look out for is a change in behavior.
Change in behavior,
Change in
right?
behavior. When a kid is from a jovial, boisterous kid to someone who's quiet, you've got to look out for that.
Okay.
When a kid has been doing well in school and suddenly there's a drop in the grades, you have to watch out for that.
Okay.
Or the kind of friends the kids have been with. So as a parent, you've got to look out for that.
Yeah,
And
kind of friends.
the kind of friends, yeah. So it will be very helpful for the parent to be monitoring what kind of peers or friends the child has been with. So if there's a change in behavior, drop in grades, these are already
So what do they do?
Well, they would have to be able to communicate with the child and ask the child what's going on, to be able to have this open channel for communication. But I think one parent that I know, even though he's traveling around the world very often, he kept this communication open by Skyping with the kid almost every day.
So it's important in this day and age to be internet savvy.
To be internet savvy. To some extent, you must know some basic functions of being internet savvy, knowing how to do some video chatting, have some communications with the kid, even though you're far, far away. And I find this very, very important because I have a group of kids, they are patients that we're managing. Their parents are not so communicative, not so supportive, not so in terms of opening a channel. The kids tend not to do so well. Those kids who are actually have very supportive parents, they come along for treatment. They ask us how's the kids doing. This group of kids tend to do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's also another opportunity, especially realistically on the ground there, we also deal with children from single parent families. I think sometimes when the single parent cannot deal with everything, I think it's wise to involve friends or relatives. There are some studies that show that as long as there's one loving caregiver, it could be a grandparent, it could be an uncle, it could be the single parent, the outcome for the child is pretty good actually. Okay. So it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to divorce. But the whole idea is that the parent themselves must be aware of how to address these issues and call out for help from their own support group in order to help the child over a long period of time.
Perhaps if we can take a hard-headed look at the situation many years ago and the situation today, are there new pressures that the adolescent and the student faces that is causing a greater anxiety among possible causes for depression?
I think the emergent stressors to the school children these days are firstly the cyberbullying. That is something that is very contemporary. The second issue is, of course, the effect of media and how media idolizes the human form and what they would see as popular and attractive. That's the second pressure, and that has brought about eating disorders, which also causes depression as well.